Hello, you beautiful souls. Welcome to another week of Awaken and Align. I'm actually recording this on Monday, March 15th, as Mercury, it's in its last degrees of Aquarius. I thought that it would be wise for me to get out my thoughts before Mercury moves into the watery sign of Pisces. And I just felt really called to share today. But you will obviously be hearing this after all of this occurs on Wednesday or anytime after that. So I just wanted to say thank you all for being here. And without really having this intention, I guess I did a Pisces season 4-week Laura Chung solo episode, and it wasn't planned, but I'm so glad I did because I really wanted to move through this season with you and to share all of the things that I've been personally working on and what I've been moving through as I'm moving through it in real time and getting us all ready for Aries season, which kicks off on Saturday, March 20th, which also happens to be my solar return 39 times around the sun. And normally I would not share that, but I really am so grateful for the fact that I got to spend 39 wonderful, beautiful years on this planet. And I'm personally never ashamed of my age. I feel that every year is a gift, and every year I truly learn so much more and feel more and more freedom and more peace within myself. And if everybody says that 40 is the magical year, then I just cannot wait for it. But since it is my last year of my 30s, I figure why not go out with a bang and just put everything up for my dreams out into the universe, take chances, take risks. So I'm so happy that I have this community to share this with. I'm super excited for what's to come. But before I get into today's episode, I just wanted to give a huge shout out to Sheridan Blake. She is the Australian contingent on this community. I can't even describe into words what it feels like when you get that message from the universe, an angel. I don't know what you would call this, but it's one of those stories where people talk about of manifestation or the law of attraction, when one day you wake up and you see an email, and it's just one of those stories. So I just wanted to share it with you. And since Sheridan Blake really touched me with her generous gift of actual money, I was so surprised. This episode is sponsored by Sheridan Blake from Australia. Now, I don't take advertisement or partnerships for this podcast because I really want this to make this community and this platform to be free content, because I do believe that knowledge and wisdom should be spread out freely. But I so appreciate when people from all over the world value what I'm doing and value what I'm saying and send me things like this. And I'm going to get emotional. And as a double fire sign and Aquarian moon, this is not comfortable for me to blatantly share my emotions like this. But you know, when you're going through your own journey, and my purpose here on earth, I really do believe, is to be inspiring and to motivate people and to help people. And I guess like the optics of that is that I'm always motivated and I'm always positive, but that's just not true. And I hope by now, if you hear my podcast, that you know that I go through it as well. And as I'm going through my own unfolding and my own awakening, as you will, sometimes it's hard for me to show up. And sometimes I'm like, why am I even doing this? Is anybody listening? But then I get these drops from heaven, drops from the universe that just remind me that I'm on the right track and I'm doing the right thing. And Sheridan Blake was one of those people. And it was after I did the episode about the universal laws, and I saw a notification from my PayPal. Now, I thought it was a donation for the monthly global healing circles that we do, because I don't give out my PayPal to anybody. And that's what I thought it was. But then I looked at the note and I was just blown away by, first of all, the generosity. She sent me a lot of money. To me, it was a lot of money. Anything is, to me, like, people are going through rough financial times right now. We're going through a global panorama, Grand Panini. So the fact that she sent money to a stranger from halfway around the world was such, that alone was shocking. And then the note that she sent with it was, I mean, I don't think she even realizes, if you're listening to this, and Sheridan Blake, I'm pretty sure you're a femme identifying person, but please, please correct me if I'm wrong, because there's no picture. I don't know what you look like. You don't have any Instagram. So I just realized that I just felt the energy from the note you sent me and the way you were speaking to me. You were sending off an energy of abundance and that nurturing, caring, feminine energy that I think is so rare these days. But I'm just trying to find this PayPal note, but I wanted to read it to all of you. She wrote, "Please keep doing what you are doing and spreading love and joy to all souls around the world," from a listener in Australia. And then I emailed her right away because when I woke up, I saw it. And I wrote her an email saying everything I'm saying to you now. Like, I couldn't believe it. It was just the message that I needed. And not that I was going to give up, but I was just kind of, as we all are during this season, like feeling a little lost, feeling like, what am I doing with my life? What direction, what decisions should I make? And she shared that she found my podcast and the 12 universal laws, and it really helped her, and she wanted me to keep going. And I just want to say to you and all of you listening, it means so much to me that what I'm saying is resonating with some people, because I know when I was going through this journey in the beginning of 2018, I felt super lonely. I felt super lost. And I'm sharing this for the version of me that needed this in 2018. And even little Laura, who always felt a little weird, always felt a little mystical and alien-y. I share and do this for her, the little Laura inside that always wanted somebody who looked like her to represent her. So thank you again to Sheridan. And this episode is dedicated to all of you who really, really are connected by this beautiful technology of podcasts and YouTube and wherever you're listening from. I'm truly, truly grateful. I'm at a loss for words, as you can see. But anyway, I was really thinking a lot over the weekend about what I wanted to share, because I have to be honest, this weekend was rough for me. And I really hope that I articulated the shadow side of Pisces season and the shadow side of these energies, because I was experiencing the shadow sides for sure. Because I am such an optimistic person and I see the glass half full and I see the potentiality of it, I don't necessarily dwell on the shadow sides or the other side of the light side. And that's my own shadow work that I have to do, is to be real with my feelings and the unrealized, the unfelt, the unnoticed emotions within myself. And trust me, when you don't deal with them, they come out in all sorts of different ways. So I was sharing with you all the beautiful positive sides of this new moon in Pisces that just happened on Saturday, and Venus and Neptune and the spirituality and the love and abundance. But the shadow side was feeling lonely, feeling left in the dark, feeling the fears of a lack, and feeling the depths of your fears. And because it's Pisces season, which is the last zodiac of the, of the wheel, um, you're being asked to release a lot of these old subconscious programming, these old fears that you've had probably your entire life. And again, healing doesn't end, but I believe that life is a spiral. I think it's the law of rhythm, where each time you come back to the same topics, you have more information and a different perspective. You're not starting from the beginning, but it's allowing you to heal even more. It's allowing you to look deeper, deeper, deeper. And this time just reminded me a lot of Mercury retrograde last, I believe, October to November, when it was in Scorpio. And that time was a very dark time for me. All of my old fears and lack feelings and about money and about everything, all the decisions I had made. And when I got over that time, I was feeling amazing again. And the start of this year, I was like, yeah, let's get after it. And then there's something about um, when the planets, the major personal planets, go into water signs, that makes me go into these like subconscious realms, and it makes me feel super uncomfortable. And again, as somebody who has in the past ignored my feelings and ran away from my feelings, it's a chance for me to go deeper and deeper and deeper in healing that, and going further into like, what is it that I'm truly afraid of, and can I meet my fears where they are, and give those fears, envelop those fears with love and kindness and compassion. And I'm not always the most compassionate and patient person, and I can attest to that for sure. Excuse me while I grab a sip of tea. um, so I did want to mention that because I do feel, I consider astrology and these energy updates to be like weather reports, to have awareness and to be prepared of them. And I think it's always dependent on the person you're hearing it from. And I just tend to be a more positive person, and I tend to see things as nothing's good or bad. These energies are there, whether you see them good or bad, but how you use them is really up to you. Your reaction to them is really on you. So, wow. Without going into all the details, I felt super amazing on the new moon. And then yesterday, which was the day after the new moon, I was just feeling all sorts of old old content that comes up every now and then. And and I know with all the work that I've been doing, I know they are illusions, and I know it's a part of me, the ego part of me, that is scared, is not real. But man, that ego content can feel so real sometimes. And I find that my mind, I really do feel that my mind is, I feel like, and I don't know, I'm not a Gemini. Please, Geminis, if you feel like this, because Geminis have a bad rap of being Jekyll and Hyde, but they are the twins. So I feel a part of me is in the ego content, like, what are we going to do about our business? What are we going to do about our student loans? What are we going to do, right? And the ego content can feel so scattered, so frenetic, so like the energy, so like, get out of my head. And then the other side of me that knows better, that knows that that's just fear content. And when I tap into my higher self, and my higher self is whispering to me, everything's going to be okay. This is just because you're doing something different. Everything's going to be fine. Just chill out, just stay calm, right? And I've done so much deprogramming. I've done so much work on myself. And every single moment of the day, I feel like I'm working on myself. And sometimes that could even be so overwhelming because it's like every moment of the day, I have an addictive personality, and I've shared that on here before. My Neptune is in my first house that's square to my sun. So when I get on something, I'm on it. And thank God I've never done any crazy serious drugs, but when I get on some kind of pattern or obsession, man, that is there. So I've been on this obsession, this addictive behavior around self-growth, spirituality, and just bettering myself. And at some point, I just have to also say, Laura, it's okay. Like, you're good. You need to just rest and have fun. You need to just go for a walk and chill the F out. Because every moment of the day, from the moment I wake up to the moment I go to sleep, I'm like, I gotta deprogram, I gotta deprogram, I gotta deprogram. I gotta fill my mind with good content, inspiring content. I gotta do this mantra, I gotta do this ritual, I gotta, learn astrology, I gotta learn tarot, I gotta learn about psychology. And sometimes like it can feel a little overwhelming for me personally. And I don't know if anybody who's listening right now feels the same way, but I think today, man, if I had a video camera of my day today, you would have been like, she's crazy. But it's when I looked at the astrology and the energies of today, I can go into like what's going on and why we all might be feeling these feels. But I literally went from this morning feeling super crazed, running around with my ego content, like conjuring up every bad case scenario in my mind, and then like crying and screaming and asking God for help, and being like, fuck you, God, fuck you, everybody, fuck you who fucked me over. And then now it's 4 p.m. Eastern time here, and now I'm listening to BTS and Meg Thee Stallion and just like enjoying my day. So I'm like, man, if people only knew what happened behind the scenes, they'd be like, she crazy. So the story that I was starting with anyway was I felt super amazing on the new moon. I was like, yes, we're getting after it. We're planting these seeds in the dark moon. I'm good with the unknown. I'm good with this. I'm good with that. And then yesterday, that's where I left off. Yesterday, which was Sunday after the new moon, I was feeling crazy again. I was having all these fears come up. And then I'm studying on Course in Miracles with Nikki Morissette, who is also a podcast guest. And, I was sharing some of the things I was going through and the ego content. And A Course in Miracles is saving my life right now. It's literally helping me deprogram my mind and seeing things from a different perspective. And then one of our circle members, she was doing a sound bath, a new moon sound bath, and it was at like 8:30 p.m. Until a little before 10. So I was like, this is perfect. I'll listen to her sound bath and just go right to bed. And she warned us that the sound bath was going to clear out and empty out all of the fears and the limiting beliefs. And I always forget how powerful sound baths are, and I'm so sensitive to them. So I was like, yeah, okay, whatever. So yes, it was amazing. And lo and behold, after the sound bath, I went to bed and I completely passed out, and I was having the craziest dreams, which I won't get into because this is another thing you should expect from Mercury and Pisces are crazy dreams. And then I slept for almost 9 hours straight. And then in the morning, I felt terrible. I felt so afraid. I was panicking. I was having an anxiety attack. And that's just not something I'm used to. I haven't felt an anxiety attack since I used to work in my corporate job. Like, I have I just felt so crazy, and just my ego, my mind was going all over the place. Like, how am I going to pay my student loans? How am I going to do my taxes? How am I going to save for like, all of my fears were like coming to the surface. And I was like, oh my God, it was the sound bath. The sound bath was literally coming out. All my fears were coming out to the surface for me to like really sit with, really feel uncomfortable with. So another part of the story is that when I used to work in corporate America, I used to get something called the Sunday Scaries, which if any of you have worked Monday through Friday job, 9 to 5, you know what I mean? Like, those Sunday scaries hit at 3 p.m. and you're freaked out as hell because you have to go to bed early, you have to wake up the next day, you have to prepare your lunch, you have to, like, you know, prepare for the work week. And it's like you get depressed on Sundays. So I was kind of feeling that too yesterday. And then I don't know why, again, probably stuff from the past. And then yesterday, and then this morning, I was feeling that pressure of Monday, gotta go kill it, Monday motivation. And it was like all of those old programmed beliefs that I've held onto in the past. Everything seemed to be coming out of my eyeballs and through my mind. And I was like, okay, we clearly can't look at social media. We cannot do anything. We need to get our mind right. So I parked myself on my meditation mat, and literally for 5 hours, and I'm exaggerating because I was doing things here and there, but I did a little workout to move my body. I believe working out and moving your body is the most powerful tool to release stagnant energy. I did a couple of Kundalini yoga kriyas. I sang songs, I sang mantras, and really what I did was I was asking God, and I've deprogrammed my mind around that word enough where I could say God without being triggered. And I know a lot of you who were raised in the Catholic or Christian church, that word can be very triggering. And as somebody who grew up in the Christian church, I've done enough deprogramming to reclaim that word. So when I use that word, I mean life force, energy, source, the universe, divine, spirit. But I was calling on everybody. I was calling on God, Goddess, Lakshmi, Ganesh, Shiva, Mary, Jesus. I was calling on everyone and their mom, all my ancestors, the people of this land, the owls, like my higher self, everybody, to really help me, because clearly I needed to sit there and really feel each fear content, each limiting belief, each thing that was coming up to the surface, because clearly they were coming up for me to recognize them and to release them. And I literally at one point just screamed, and I do that sometimes. I screamed so loud, just like, just so sick of being so controlled by fear. I'm so sick of being controlled by the belief of lack. I'm so fucking tired of feeling like disempowered by my current situation. And I'm just so sick of everything, right? As you can see, some of that content is still in there. And I just said, like, fuck, like, you want me to do this thing, right? I came onto this earth and you want me to do this thing that we're all meant to do, whatever your purpose is. And I'm here, I'm sitting here surrendering. Like, I don't know what the fuck is going on. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I'm so ready to let go of the past. I'm so ready to let go of my fears and my limiting beliefs. And I'm so ready, this is Pisces season, I'm so ready to let go of what I know, to go into the unknown of what I'm meant to do. But fuck, you need to help me out here. Throw a sister a bone here, because I hate the way I feel right now. I don't like it, and it makes me feel crazy. And again, I'm doing A Course in Miracles. I've been teaching about this stuff and I've been talking about this stuff. But man, when you actually have to do it yourself, it's a different fucking story. And one of the things that A Course in Miracles says, and also the Bible says this, every spiritual practice says this, is that when you surrender and when you give it up to God and when you ask for help, then the answer comes. And I do have to say that when I did my little tantrum and I was like, and for those of you watching on YouTube, I could show you really quickly of what I did. So on my TikTok, I talk a lot about somatic healing and like getting your body moving, shaking and dancing so that the trauma leaves your body. And so I just sat in a meditative pose and I was holding my body like this, but then very gently, I was like tapping on my body. I was tapping. I brought my hands to a fist, one hand on my belly, which is your solar plexus, the center of power and your confidence, and one hand on my heart, and just gently tapping them. And I just asked, like, please help me. And then I moved it around my body, tapping my shoulders, tapping my legs, but really focusing on my lower chakras too, like my belly, because what you're allowing your physical body to do is to release that energy as you say to yourself, like, well, I wasn't saying anything to myself. I was really asking for help from, everybody and their mom. I was just saying, please help me. What would you have me do? What would you have me say? What can I do right now? And the biggest message came through, and this is why I wanted to share it with you. The biggest message first said, oh my God, I just wrote all this down so I wouldn't forget. So I'm just looking for where it is. Okay. What would your rich life look like and feel like? But most importantly, feel your rich life. Like, what does it feel like to you in your emotional body? And whatever you need to do to get to that feeling is the work. So let me explain. And this goes so well with all of the topics in the 3 previous weeks, and also the new moon in Pisces workshop that I led with Roberta Romero, and all the things that we were talking about and all the content that she and I shared was that it really is moving from one frequency of being to another. So our reality is created by our inner world, our inner emotional well-being. And there's so many texts to confirm this. And I can confirm this from my own personal experience, because when I was working in finance and I was living in Tribeca in a very nice apartment, I was wearing the red bottom shoes, wearing expensive clothing, flying business class, and I was making 6 figures. So on my physical reality, what was in my physical reality was the markers of success or being rich. And previous to that, I had a Hamptons home with my ex-boyfriend, who was, I guess, in many standards, wealthy. We had a nice car. We lived in a nice apartment. I'm just basically saying that I know what it's like to have all of the external validations and physical things to be rich, but I didn't feel rich. I didn't feel in my being that I was rich. And I remember, because I asked myself this morning, I tried to recall what I was feeling at that time when I had all those things. And I remember still feeling lack. I remember still feeling that there wasn't enough, and that I had to work harder and I had to work more. And that, I know this is crazy to some of you, but I was like, should I get a side hustle so that I could get a nicer apartment? This is why I believe it's not about your physical reality. And that's how I remind myself that it's not about your physical reality. Wealth and being rich is a state of being. And something that I keep reminding myself of is, can I feel rich? Can I feel wealthy? Can I feel abundant? Can I feel love? Can I feel healthy? Can I feel love and peace and joy? All the things that we all want in life now, before the physical manifestations show itself, because I'm never going to feel like that rich bitch that I want to be. I'm never going to feel joy and peaceful if I don't feel it now, if I don't actually feel it in my being this moment. And maybe all of this fear content was coming up for me to actually realize and recognize that all of that is just fake news. It's just fear content from preventing me to see the truth of the fact that, again, I truly believe that we are more powerful than we could ever imagine, that we are emanations of creator, of spirit of God, that we have the power within ourselves to change our reality at any moment. And sometimes we forget that, actually all the time. And clearly yesterday and this morning, I forgot. And I was going on this like ego trip of like, and when I say ego, I also mean the psychological definition of ego, but more importantly, ego in the broader sense of being separated from God, feeling like you're on this island by yourself. And so I really wanted to talk about this because Lori, who was the Sound Journey friend, I was sharing with the group that I still have student loans. And I've shared this many times, and it's a point of feeling guilty, and it's made me feel shameful, and it's something that I regret, and it's something that I feel so much resentment and anger towards all the guidance counselors and teachers who told me to go to grad school, all of the people who were guiding me at that time, the education system, everybody. I have so much anger and resentment towards everybody who convinced me to do that. And now I graduated in 2007, so this will be the 14th year that I'm still paying this off. And I realized that, and I was sharing this with the group, and how that cloud over my head has really shaped a lot of decisions in my life, like going back to a 9-to-5 job, like taking certain jobs that weren't in alignment because I had to pay off my student loans. And, I'm sure everyone can relate to this in some way, because hi, America, a lot of us have student loan debt. And what she said to me really, really resonated with me. And it's something that I, again, say all the time, but I just need somebody else to remind me. And she said that all of us are in this old channel. And I used this example in my last episode, where we're on this old frequency, this old radio station. And for me, my old vibe, my old radio station was defining myself by the student loan, by feeling guilty, by blaming everybody, by having this be so much a part of my identity. And every time I think about it, I go back to it, it like creates a deeper and deeper groove into my brain and into my mind, into my heart and into my emotions. And now I'm ready to forgive that part of myself that did that and took out those loans. I'm ready to forgive the people who, were only guiding me based on their own experience. I'm ready to forgive myself of past mistakes, or mistakes in air quotes. I'm ready to let go of feeling shame and guilt over it. I'm ready to let go of just being identified for so long with that version of me, right? Again, Pisces season, letting go of the old vision of myself. And And she said that maybe you just have to create a new story, a new vibe, saying the debt is already paid. And that is a real trick of the subconscious mind. So in my journal this morning, and these are just like um, numbers I picked because of the numerology of it, but I was like, okay, if I'm going to tune my radio station into a higher frequency of a rich bitch vibe, my old vibe was at 99.9, which is in numerology, 9 is the number of completion of an ending of a cycle. And I'm tuning my new vibe, my new frequency into 111.1. So that's 1111. Then what do I have to feed my mind? What do I have to feel like? What actions do I need to be in that energy of that being of the rich bitch that I am? Because all possibilities exist in the present moment. Again, something that Roberta Romero said in our new moon workshop that really resonated with me is that in quantum physics, in the quantum realm, there is no past, present, or future, that everything's happening at the same moment. So if you're going through a challenging time in this moment, just know that there is a reality out there, infinite realities of you living the life that you want to live, of infinite potentiality, of solutions. So that is why it's so important to be in the present moment, and why meditation and all of these practices are so crucial when you're changing your frequency, because it brings you back into the present moment. And why I do practices like Kundalini yoga and meditation, and why I'm into sacred geometry and energetics, is because you raise your vibration, you raise your point of awareness to have more information for you to change your life. Now, when you're resonating on this lower frequency, and lower doesn't mean worse, it just means lower at the physical realm, because the vibes, the energy is, the resonance is moving slower, then you're only focused on what you can see, on the physical matter, right? But when you can raise your vibration, raise your point of awareness to a higher frequency, the 5 dimension where love, peace, joy, happiness all reside, then you can get yourself into a higher point of awareness where there's more information, more knowledge available to you. That's why we do these practices, to tap into our intuition, our third eye, because there's a part of us that has an infinite wisdom, an intuitive sense that is more knowing than our ego identity, because our ego lives in this physical realm. I hope this is all making sense. It should all make sense based on all of the information I've shared up until now. So when I was journaling, and when I was like, okay, feel that bad bitch vibe. And I wish I could show you this, but I have this sign up in my room that says, I am that rich queen. And I wanted to say bitch, but my mom doesn't believe that you should call yourself a bitch. So it says, I am that rich queen. And so I was like, okay, if I want to feel rich now, and rich again doesn't just mean money, rich can be whatever it is that makes you feel rich. So if there is one prompt, is if there's one action item after this episode, I want you to write down in your journal, like I did, and I'm showing on the screen like my journal right now. Write in your journal, like, what does your rich life look like, and how do you feel? What does it look like? What kind of things are you doing? What are you wearing? And so that's why this morning, when I was tapping into that frequency, when I was raising my vibe from 99.9, my old vibe, to the new vibe to 111.1, I said, what would that feel like? What would that look like? And God's message came through so like loud and clear to me in that moment, in my moment of distress, is that that's the whole point of this work, is that when you feel scared, when you feel like you're on your own fucking island, when you're like, where do I go? What do I do? You call upon a higher power. You call upon your higher self, the part of you that is Christ consciousness, the part of you that knows what to do. And I have to remind myself every time over again that the part of you that is afraid, the part of you that is like, I have no idea what the fuck I'm doing, is the ego part of you, is the part of you that is attached to this physical reality, which thank goodness that we're physical, by the way, because if we weren't and we were just like spirit form and 5D dimensional, we wouldn't get to experience the luxury and the beauty and the physical things that this life has to offer, like these beautiful journals and crystals and, you know, copal and palo santo and just like what this physical reality has to offer. So I just want to say that too, like, you know, you might be hearing a lot in the spiritual community, we have to ascend to the 5D and we have to ascend. And that to me just means a point of consciousness, a point of awareness where you have more information, when you could get your 5 senses to be so acute that you get information from a higher source while being in a physical form. So we are physical human beings on earth, embodied in this physical reality, but how can we also be so sensitive and alert to what information and signs and synchronicities are out there to help guide us, help co-create this reality with us? So I just really had this huge epiphany this morning during my meltdown that I was like, oh my God, I have to do it now. I have to do it on a Monday because I'm going to forget all of this tomorrow when Mercury, oh my God, it's 444. I'm into numerology, by the way, if you haven't noticed. While Mercury is like in Pisces, and I'm going to talk about that in a second. So another call to spirit came up as I was doing this, because as you're letting go of your old self, the old vibe, your old vibe is still going to make its presence known to you, because change is super uncomfortable, especially to the ego, because the ego wants to keep you safe and comfortable. And we have to thank the ego for that, because it keeps us safe and comfortable and protected. But as you're moving to a different vibration, you're going to get that content come in again, be like, what are we doing? So this was the prayer that came out of that moment. Spirit, I surrender my burden of my belief in blank, whatever your thing is. And so I wrote down a couple things, which I'm sure all of you have this content going on in your mind. Spirit, I surrender my burden of my belief in lack. Spirit, I surrender my burden of belief in self-doubt. Spirit, I surrender my burden of my belief in unworthiness. Spirit, I surrender my burden of my belief in poverty, whatever it is. Ultimately, all of these things point to the same thing. We have a belief in lack. We have a belief in self-doubt. We have a belief in unworthiness, poverty, sickness, because we've forgotten who we truly are. We forget constantly that we are part of the divine. We constantly forget that we're getting messages all the time, but those messages are being clouded by our fear content, by our doubt, by our fears, by our unworthiness, by our lack. So I love the Course in Miracles again. And one of the lessons we just learned is to just see this content as clouds, like fear, unworthiness, lack, and they're just clouding your mind to prevent you from hearing God's voice, God's direction. And for you to get the clouds cleared away is you can pay attention to them and say, okay, you can leave now, you can leave now, you can leave now. And the best way, I believe, to do this is through meditation, where you get in that present moment and you see the content there and you're just like, you're just blocking me from what I already know. And yesterday, what I did, it was super windy here in New York, and I really believe wind is a catalyst for change. I know in Chinese medicine and other cultures, they believe the wind is an element to move things. Like it moves the seeds so that they're planted. But it was super windy to the point where it was moving my body. And I really felt the energetic shift. Again, I think between the wind and the sound and all of the other things that I was doing, it was like really moving those emotions out of me. But I was looking up at the clouds. I cannot make this shit up. I was looking up at the clouds and I'm like, okay, that one is my belief in doubt. That one is my belief in lack. And I shit you not, when I said that, it started hailstorming. Like literally, hail started falling down. I had to run inside. And then as I ran for cover, the sky opened up back up and then it was blue skies again. And I was like, damn, spirit, you really be showing me through the weather. And if you lived in New York, it was Sunday, March 14th, when we had that like 2-minute hailstorm. That's what happened to me. Anyway, so that prayer was super helpful for me, and I'll try to remember to put it in the show notes and in the notes section on YouTube. But I did want to talk about the energies of this week. So on March 15th, Mercury enters Pisces. And right now, as I'm talking, Mercury is at 29 degrees of Aquarius, which is why I wanted to do this now, because Mercury in Aquarius is an air sign. So Mercury likes this energy because it's super clear in what it wants. It's emotionally detached. It's like, I need to do this thing and I need to, it's Mercury rules the mind, it rules communication and commerce. And whenever a planet is in the last degree, 29, it's at a critical point. So this is also the urgency. I felt like I need to get this out before it moves into Pisces. Mercury going into Pisces is an energy I'm very familiar with because my personal Mercury is in Pisces. And Mercury in Pisces is in its detriment, which means that Mercury doesn't like Pisces because Mercury is the fastest moving planet in our solar system. It likes clear cut, let's get after it. It rules the mind again. It doesn't like going into the waters, into the emotions, into, this like nebulous area of our emotional body. But the upside of Mercury in Pisces is getting intuitive downloads, getting psychic downloads, feeling like a knowing, just like a sense of knowing without even really understanding why you know it, like almost a gut feeling, a sense of intuition. But again, the shadow side is like that nebulous feeling of, I don't know, I just feel it all. So, I mean, it's hard for me to be biased not to be biased because I have my Mercury in Pisces and it's always served me to be super intuitive. But some people might not like this energy because you want to communicate and you want to have clarity of mind, but Mercury in Pisces isn't going to allow you to do that. But I think, again, with all of these planets being in its last degrees of Pisces, it's like that last release, that last bit of, okay, going on this path, because Pisces is such a spiritual sign. It's like, during Pisces season, did you get any intuitive downloads or intuitive insights into like what your spiritual path is, what your higher purpose is? And if not, it's okay. You're continually unfolding that. So yeah, that's Mercury and entering Pisces. And we have a couple of beautiful aspects this week leading up to the sun moving into Aries. And in the northern hemisphere, now that we have a southern hemisphere contingent, I feel very compelled to talk about the southern hemisphere as well. And this is like such my limiting beliefs. I'm like, only people in America listen to my podcast, so I don't need to talk about the Southern Hemisphere. Well, I was wrong. Um, so the sun entering Aries on March 20th. So it'll probably be March 21st for the Southern Hemisphere, which you will be experiencing the fall equinox, and we are experiencing the spring equinox. But it means equal light and dark, equal daytime, equal nighttime. And for us in the Northern Hemisphere, it really signifies the light coming back, the sun having more power. The sun is exalted in Aries, meaning that it has a lot of power in Aries. And Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. And for many people, for many astrologers, this is our solar new year. This is really when things start to begin. It's the fire energy, it's the spirit energy, and it's when we literally like, we're moving forward. This is what we're doing. We're taking action. And for the Southern Hemisphere, now you're losing light. Now you're going into the more harvest season. You're looking at your abundance. You're looking at all of the things that you've accomplished. And I'm just equating this to our fall. I don't know if you all have the kind of agricultural season that we do, but the fall and losing light is really about shedding and about abundance and harvesting, getting prepared for winter. And now us in the Northern Hemisphere, we're growing and we're seeing the seeds like coming out through the soil. And what I also find interesting too is that, and this is why I freaking love astrology. In astrology, there's 7 signs in the zodiac, which looks like a wheel, and we have 12 months in a year. And the 12 months in a year, that's why a lot of Western astrology goes by the solar calendar, because it's based on farming season, based on the harvest season as well. And so March being the start of Aries season is really about taking action on all of the things that we've learned from Pisces season, like all the shedding that we did, all of the leaving behind, all of the spiritual quests that we went on, all of these realizations and releasing what we know to now moving to something that we don't know. And that's why it's so freaking scary, because again, being the mutable water sign, we don't know what's happening. We don't know like what shore we're grasping onto. But what I experienced this morning was that when you can really quiet your mind and quiet your ego content and remember that beyond all the clouds, the sun is always still there. If you've ever ridden on an airplane and you've taken off during a storm and you ride above the clouds and you realize like, oh wait, it's like all sunny and nice up here. It's just the clouds that like cloud and prevent vision, prevent true hearing, prevent the truth from coming forward. So the 20th, the sun entering Aries season for us in the Northern Hemisphere, is a beautiful day to celebrate and to plant again like the seeds of what you want to create, what you want to bring forth in the year of 2021. I know there's a bunch of witchy practices to do on this day that my friend who's a green witch has been telling me about, but for me, since it's my solar return, my birthday, I'm really going to anchor in what I said in the beginning, is to really live fearlessly, to really take risks, to really work on letting go of all this fucking fear content and devoting myself to leaving 99.9 to 111.1, leaving my old vibe and resonating on the frequency of who I'm truly wanting to be, of who I know I'm meant to be. My rich bitch vibe, if you know what I'm saying. And another point of tension, why I think I was also feeling all this crazy energy, was when planets change signs, especially the personal planets. So the personal planets being your sun, moon, Mercury, Venus, and Mars. when they move signs, it's a point of like, you feel a little chaotic because you're moving from one element to the other. So as Mercury moves from air to water, it's like, have you ever seen those pelicans where they're literally huge animals in they're ocean animals and they're flying and then they dip into the water? That's the energy I'm feeling. It's like, oh, we're gliding in the air, Mercury in Aquarius, and then boom, you're like dunking yourself into water. So Mercury is moving from Aquarius to Pisces. Venus is moving from Pisces to Aries on the 21st, which is next Sunday, I believe. So we're moving from watery Venus, where Venus loves, to fiery Aries, where Venus is like, bitch, bitch better have my money and my passion and my fire. And then the sun, as I mentioned, is moving from Pisces to Aries on Saturday the 20th, which is like, ooh, we're all watery, we're all dreamy, we're all visionary, to now it's like, okay, we're building, we're taking action, we're doing the damn thing. And I was talking to my friend earlier this morning where she has this idea for her business. And I said that the only way to really test something out, the only way to really bring it to this earth is to just do the damn thing, is to test it, is to do it, is to say it, is to show up. And because she was asking me, like, I so admire what you're doing on social media. And I was like, girl, that shit was not easy. I don't know if you all remember this, but in 2018, when I first started speaking about spirituality on my Instagrams, I was like covered in hives. I was like, like, like I was so nervous. I was not comfortable doing it, but I showed up every day doing it. I started this podcast. I started talking more and more about it. And now, what is that? 3 years later, I can speak freely and speak with comfort because I did the work. I showed up every fucking day and just did the damn thing. And was it comfortable? No, but I did it because I knew this was part of my destiny, part of my dharma, part of my plan. So that's another key part of changing your frequency to the new vibe. It's, you have to ask yourself, what does your rich bitch vibe look like? What does she think like? What thoughts does she think? What does she feel like? How does she treat herself? And what action steps does she take? So today I was like, after my crying fit, which my eyes are super puffy right now, and my head hurts because I cried so much. I was literally like, I don't have any pictures of me crying because I look horrible. I ugly cry, and I just, my eyes get really small and I'm all puffy and I'm like, ah, and I was screaming and I was thrashing and I was like doing the tapping on myself. It looked really, really insane. But again, I came to this like amazing epiphany and I said, okay, what would rich bitch Laura do? Well, she would paint her nails red because she's a rich bitch. She would slather coconut oil all over her body, which I did. She would dress nicely because rich bitches don't look sloppy. And since Venus entered Pisces, I started dressing nicer. I started doing my makeup nicer. I started like really embodying the feeling that I wanted. I put on jewelry. I have my tiger's eye. I have my moonstone on. And I did my hair. I put like nice oils in it. So that's like how rich bitch Laura would treat herself. And I eat beautiful food. I've been making more of an effort to um, nourish myself because that's an act of abundance. That's an act of like, you know, rich bitch. I'm going to feed you good food. I'm going to feed you beautiful food. And what would she feel like? I would feel abundant now. I would feel abundant regardless of what was in my bank account. I would feel abundant knowing that money flows to me constantly on a consistent basis. I would feel abundant and rich knowing that like my sense of earning is not dependent on me working hard, because I don't believe that at all. My sense of worth is not based on my bank account. My feeling rich means sharing abundance with others, where I can give and I can share knowledge and I can create a space for people to also feel rich and abundant. I want to share these ideas freely with everybody and have everybody be abundant. I believe in that saying, like, oh crap, now I'm gonna forget it. A rising tide lifts all boats or something. Oh my God, somebody help me out here. I really believe that when I can activate that frequency of being a rich bitch, and because of mirror neurons, as I explained in the 12 universal laws, that we could each mirror each other and we all be fucking rich as fuck, right? Like we all rise each other up. And I just don't believe that living in America in 2021, some of us should be rich and some of us shouldn't be rich. Like, I just don't believe in that at all. Like, I don't believe in the fact that there's Jeff Bezos out there who's worth, I don't know, like $1 trillion. And then there's people who are homeless. Like, I just don't think that's okay. And if it means me being rich so that I can help those people, then that's what I'm going to do. There you have it. And that's also the beauty of the Aquarian age and technology, is that information and the power of our voice is all, we're all on an equal playing field, right? And so glad I was born during this time, because I would not know what to do if I didn't have the internet. So thank you, Aquarian gods. Okay, so let me just check to see if I've said everything that I wanted to say. Yes, you want to feel the feeling now, feeling free, feeling the flow, feeling trust, joyous, celebratory, generous. These are just some of the things I wrote down. Letting go of control, letting go of the block to infinite potentiality. One of the things I also realized was that because I was so afraid, I was blocking my vision of all the different possibilities that are available to me in this moment in time, in this infinite potentiality, in this infinite universe. And the only thing that I can control are my reactions and my feelings. I can't control anything outside of myself. I can only control my inner being, the way I feel. And this is why Pisces season was such a huge opportunity for me and for everybody, was the explorations of our emotions and how our inner well-being literally creates our reality. So I will leave it on that note, and I'll repeat the questions again. What would your rich life look like? What would you think? What would you feel? How would you act? How would you treat yourself? So get into that vibe, the new vibe, your rich bitch vibe, and let me know what you felt, how this resonated with you, if it resonated with you. And I'm so grateful again to Sheridan. Thank you so much for encouraging me. And for all of you out there listening, I send you nothing but love, health, wealth, abundance, and prosperity.